we are at, I think, 17,000 watts now, I believe, and I put it at 700 phase amps. Now, I will be honest, so far I have not felt a huge difference. Like, the BAC 8000 wasn't worth it. Like,
holy cow. Holy cow. Okay. What's up, fellas? Look at that. It is raining and nasty outside. So, can't do any riding today. But, thanks to the magic of YouTube, I don't have to come up with some content and a topic for discussion. So, let me see. As I've said before, guys, my channel is about helping to save you guys some money. And I'm going to do that by, like I say, showing you some ways to get the max out of what you have, and by trying to stop you from spending unnecessary money. Okay? Some of you guys, I'm sure, have long money, and that's cool. I wish I had some long money, but I don't. However, I have short money that's spent wisely. Okay. That being said, guys, please don't purchase items because they're expensive or because they claim to give you big power in big numbers, because that doesn't always work. And most of the time it does work, but just remember, when it comes to this e-bike stuff, you can't upgrade one part of your system. You have to upgrade everything, okay? Now, I know a lot of guys think that the controller is the most important part, or the motor is the most important part, or the battery is the most important part. The truth is, they're all important. And you can increase a couple of those variables and you're not going to see any difference in performance because you've exceeded the limits of the other parts. Now, you can go out and buy the biggest controller they sell, which is something I continuously see people doing. However, that is not going to help you if you've exceeded the limitations of your battery system. For one, and your battery system has several parts to it too. Like, for one, the BMS. So you can have a 2,000 amp hour battery capacity with the best cells in the world. However, if your BMS is only rated at 50 amps maximum output, that's all you're going to get from your battery is 50 amps maximum output. Okay? So I don't care what super duper controller you put in line, that controller is not going to produce any more than 50 amps maximum output. You feel me? Let's say, everybody can't understand current flow and electricity the same. So let me try to put that. Okay, When I was learning electronics, they always tried to relate current flowing amps with water. Let's say you got a big old pool, 5,000 gallon pool is full of water, and you want to drain that pool. Okay? And it takes a long time to drain the pool. But let's say your pump is 20 gallons per minute. That's how much water it can pump. And you say, hey, I wanna speed this process up. I'm going to Home Depot or wherever people go to buy water pumps, and you buy a pump that's 5,000 gallons per minute, and you go run and hook it up. And after you go run and hook it up, hey, I'm still only pumping 20 gallons per minute. What the hell? Okay, yes, you're still pumping 20 gallons per minute because you might have got a serious ass pump. But the pipes that you're using to pump that water through is this big. And that pipe can only allow 20 gallons per minute to flow through it. So if you want, I don't know how many gallons I said on this new pump, but whatever that was, you got to make the pipes bigger. You got to get some big pipes with that too. So then you can pump out more water. You understand what I'm saying? So, just because you got the biggest, baddest controller or the highest RPM motor, there's a certain limit at which your battery is only going to allow you so many RPMs, so much current flow, so much speed. Because your battery system isn't going to allow any more. Period. So before you go and buy, if you already got and some people already got $1,000 controller, and that $1,000 controller is more than enough because your bike can't even handle what that $1,000 controller can put through it if it has sufficient enough battery bank to give its max power. You know, there's a point of no return, or not a point of no return, but there's a point that you can't go past no matter what. And that's because of other components. Now, I mean, those motors on these bikes, the best motors, I don't know what the limits are on the best motors, but whatever that limit rating is, normally the company manufacturer puts a safe limit that they know that can be exceeded. But whatever that max limit is, not what's written in the paperwork, but the official max limit that everything balls to the walls. This many volts at this many amps is this many RPMs, and I don't care what you do, it's not going past that, okay, if everything is being allowed. So you know, and some of these controllers are more than sufficient because, for one, like them BAC 4000s and stuff like that, some of them are motorcycle controllers. And you know, an e-bike will never be able to handle the maximum output of some of them controllers if they're given what they need to get the max. You know what I'm saying? You ain't getting no 700, I heard somebody say 700 phase amps. You ain't getting no 700 phase amps through no e-bike motor. For one thing, if the motor can actually handle that, that's one thing. At the same time, you got to look at the phase wires that even go to that motor. You see, like I say, everything's got to be upgraded. Let's just say you upgrade the battery bank as well, that big controller can produce its maximum. Did you upgrade the phase wires that go to your motor? You know those wires that go down to your motor, the phase wires. Those cables have phase wires in them, and they have hall sensor wires in them. And they're only but so big because a lot of times they're running through the hub, through the axle. And they can only put but a certain gauge of wire through those axles. And whatever that certain gauge of wire is, let's say they're the biggest phase wires you can put through that axle or what? Let's say, I think the biggest ones I could get through my axle with the insulation still on it was about 10 gauge wires. And 10 gauge wires, you know, you look it up with 10 gauge wires, what the maximum current flow is for that. And whatever that maximum current flow is for that, you might could go a little bit past that, but not much more. If those phase wires can only handle 60 amps, and let's say you squeezing 70, 80 amps through it, you damn sure ain't getting no 700 amps through it. I don't care what that controller says it can output, 700 phase amps. You ain't getting 700 phase amps through that power wire that goes to your motor. So remember, when you're upgrading your system, you can't upgrade one thing. You have to upgrade everything. So it's no need to go out and buy a controller when the controller you had prior to that was way more than enough that your system could handle. Okay, so if you're only getting 60 miles an hour from that controller that in the book says it can output 400 or 500 phase amps, trust me, the limit is not the controller. That's not what's holding you back. It's either going to be your battery. The capacity isn't big enough on your battery. If it's not the capacity of your battery, it's your BMS can't output that much current flow. If it's not the BMS that's the bottleneck, it's the power wires going down to your motor can't handle that much current flow. There's a reason why when I said I was going for more speed, that I wasn't going to try to get more amps instead the same voltage, that I was talking about increasing my voltage. And I talked about Ohm's law. Volts times amps equals watts. If I know my phase wires can only allow but so much current flow, there's no need for me to try to exceed that. So that's why I was going to increase the voltage, because when you increase the amount of volts, you decrease the amount of current that you need. It's Ohm's law. There's a Ohm law for a reason. That means it's the law. That means it can't be broken. This ain't no judicial law that you can just do and break the law. These are laws of physics. And laws of physics cannot be exceeded. I don't care what you do, bruh. Whew. Okay. Anyway, that being said, that's why the little bullshit I got on my bike is doing what it's doing. It's going pretty good. It's going pretty fast. It's doing what a lot of bigger systems are doing that have big controllers and big this and big that. That's because the little stuff that I have is getting the maximum of what it needs, and it ain't a whole lot, you know. Them little phase wires, like I said, they can only handle 50, 60 amps. And I'm up around that now, as far as the amp wise and the volts wise. So I mean, even though I still can get a lot more out of my system, but that's because I'm only dangling down around 50, 60 amps. I still got about you probably can get a maximum through these wires and system and stuff. You probably can get, you hear people talking 200 amps and all that. That's a lot of amps. I'm guessing around 150 amps max, and that's pushing it. That's pushing it, even with the best of everything. And that's why I said in another video that some of those guys running them really big high power systems, 10 kW and 12, 15 kW, they're running a hell of a lot of volts. They're running way more than 72 volts. If you do some investigating, they're up there around 100 volts, 120 volts. That's because they can't get all that current flow. And yeah. Anyway, kind of forgot what I was saying this there, but I've said most of what I needed to say there. But yeah, I still got room to grow. I still got room to breathe. So if I'm around 50, 60 amps, I got about another 70, 80 amps to go before I'm really pushing it. But I'm gonna do a little something with the amps, but I'm gonna do a lot of something with the volts. Anyway, I don't know how long this video. 16 minutes. I guess that's enough. I guess I done talked enough, y'all. So let's just say my usual deuces. Peace out, y'all. But hear what I'm saying. You have to increase everything. You gotta upgrade, not increase everything. You have to upgrade everything. Upgrade everything if you're trying to get more. Okay, just don't upgrade one part. You got to make sure if you're trying to get more speed and everything, you got to make sure your battery system can output that much current. And then if it can output that much current, you want to have enough battery bank, a battery capacity, that you're not doing 70, 60 miles an hour for 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? What's the point of getting your bike up to 60 miles an hour if you have no capacity and you can only go 5 miles? You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. You want more speed, you need more capacity, and for one, to give you that more speed, then you need more capacity so you're not decreasing your range down to nothing. Alright guys, that's today's talk for today. Take it easy, take care. We out of here.